Yeniden merhaba. Öğleden sonraki oturumumuzu başlatıyoruz şimdi. Konuşmacılara ve sorulara teşekkür ederiz sabahki oturumda. Özellikle son sunumdan ardından gerçekleşen sorular gerçekten birçok insanın zihnindeki sorulardı ve çok net bir şekilde de yanıtlandığını düşünüyorum. Şimdi bu soruların ve ötesini dinlemek için seçim net diyoruz ve Pekka Hurri'yi kürsüye davet ediyoruz.
Okay. Okay, thank you for having me here and having us. It's been a pleasure and an honor to come. We are going to talk about flame retardants and compliance and functionality of those, and about the headline says the choice is clear, and like I said earlier, also the choice is transparent too as our products. So. Okay. First introduction, I think we already touched that a bit earlier, but I'm Senior Technical Advisor at Nordtreat, and I have experience, more than 35 years experience in construction industry as a project manager and like a headmaster of site in construction sites and that kind of things related to construction. I have extensive experience in renovation of old buildings, and of course, as we all know, the regulatory compliance needs to be met after big renovations. Still, we are talking about buildings which have been done hundreds or even thousands of years ago, and still they need to be compliant as today's regulation when they are renovated thoroughly. And without saying, it's clear that goes for modern buildings, and that we know. But the challenge is that when you combine old structures with the new innovation and new regulations, you need to know what to do and what is the best way to get there. My personal passion in construction industry is fire safety, and of course all fire safety, but especially the wooden structures and wood as a building material. I must say that all of us in here know and understand that the fire safety needs to be addressed, whatever the building material is. But the public opinion or public mindset is like that. When you're talking about wood, they are always interested about how is the fire protection, what are the active and passive methods of protecting the building. Okay, so wood, today's agenda. It's one of the oldest building materials known to man and used for such a long time, and we have learned many times, let's say, how to build with wood. And today, it's of course, once again, it's in the center of modern sustainable construction because of the many advantages wood has. It's light and durable, sustainable, acts as a carbon sink. Its seismic properties are par to none, and for example, load-bearing capacities under stress situation when there's a fire, they are much better than with steel. And you can even enhance the properties by flame retardants, protecting the surface fire glass or enhancing the surface fire glass. And we already touched this, but also one very critical issue, and especially related to the modern technology and systems, how air conditioning and air changing of air ventilation is handled in the buildings, is the good indoor air quality. Because, like I said, wood structures, they are breathable and they regulate automatically the humidity of the air we are breathing. So it's good for us and very natural inhabitant for people to live and do work. Turkey has a very long and rich tradition for using wood as a construction material, as in Scandinavia. Same thing in Finland. And we have a same history in a way also that we have cycles when using wood and when using other materials. And due to the regulations and let's say fashion, we have changed that. And at least in Finland, I must say that at some point we forgot how to build with wood. We have been learning it again, and as per like why our ancestors did. You have very strong historical legacy in timber buildings. The heritage, the age of the buildings is. We are not talking about same centuries when compared to Finland. Our historical buildings are practically much newer. Some churches, we have some really old churches, wooden churches, but they also have been burned down at least a couple of times normally in their history. So that only underlines the need for the fire safety. The renewed interest in Turkey, you have had the challenging conditions related to seismic activity. And of course, in a way that at some phases you have been using a lot of wood as a construction material. Then there has been fires. It went back to masonry, and you have had some earthquakes, and again went back to wood. And our reasons are a bit different, but still the same cycles can be seen. And now, of course, alongside the modern engineering solutions and new solutions, we have wood is again again in the like the central critical factor in building in positive way. So focus is on the new construction as well as preservation and renovation of heritage sites of the legacy. Diverse and demanding climate zones, like we said earlier. In Scandinavia and Finland, we have those. You have those totally different aspects, but still challenging extreme conditions. You have also biological durability considerations, for example, insecticides, termites, and so on. And of course, can't say that too many times, but the high seismic risk requiring structurally resilient structures and structures which can withstand and be safe in the case of earthquake. But I think it's a positive thing also. This creates a unique opportunity combining the heritage, cultural heritage, modern engineering, and sustainable building materials, all in one very good package. Before we go, why fire protection matters, do you have any questions about the first part? Okay, let's save them for later. So, why fire protection matters? Of course, the first thing always is the safety of the people and the living environment in the way that it's safe to live and safe to work. And that's also been always like the core factor in our product development at Nordtreat. The safety is the key. And I must say, I've always said that innovation plus safety, that gives you confidence to build with wood. You have measurements, you have solutions to make it in a way that it's not only sustainable and otherwise very good thing to use wood, but it's also safe. And fire safety, it's not a cost. It enables the creativity, making very high buildings, and it gives design freedom for architects to get those solutions out which they want, the end result. Okay, then key aspects of the need for fire protection in construction industry. We already touched the first thing, life safety, protect people. That's the main thing we want to achieve. But of course, also to preserve the historical value. And with new buildings, probably not so much that, but the investment of the property, for the property. So that's of course secondary, but also important. Buildings are historically very meaningful, and they have also people live in those, work in those. So that's the main thing. The people, once again, I mean. Then, of course, to support the regulatory compliance, building approvals and design freedom. The fire protection enables all of these, and to get the regulatory compliance right, it gives a chance for building officials to approve the planning, which architects and other related personnel have done. And this, I think, this is even more important a fact that we tend to think. Fire safety is also a fundamental factor to public trust, to the fact how people think about the construction industry and about the buildings we do. And once again, the future is built with wood. But one principle will remain and needs to be the topmost priority. That's the safety of the people. And in that, we, Nordtreat, of course, can do our part with the flame retardants we develop and manufacture. Any questions? Okay. So we have been talking a lot and seeing also a lot construction projects and buildings which are all wood. All the solutions, load-bearing structures, everything has been wood. But still, of course, they are rapidly gaining like ground and more common. But still, in the near future, I would say the most large-scale project worldwide will be hybrid structures. And is that a good or bad thing? I think at least we can find good sides on that. So, and of course, the change happens step by step every time. So it's in a way that it's a slow transition toward wood-based construction. But it needs cultural change and also the change in the financial things related to the money, as we can say. But wood is also a material. Its ability to integrate wood with steel, masonry, concrete, glass. What do you have? The building materials. It's really good, and you can get the best out of all of the possible construction materials. And maximized structural performance through material synergies, faster construction enabled by prefabricated timber components and other components, of course, too, which can be combined in the building process. Enhance sustainability through optimized material use and reduced waste. And of course, like we already briefly touched earlier, the whole life cycle of the building, from the planning phase to the end result. If it chooses to be a thing that the building is demolished, then what happens then, and what is the outcome of the materials coming out of that, recycling and all the other possible plus sides. But the hybrid systems also allow the construction industry and the mindset and legislation to take the wood confidently, step by step, project by project. And at the same time, when the technical, regulatory and performance requirements are met, the end results speak for itself. So we'll have nice sustainable buildings. People are happy with those, and they are, of course, a living part of the city atmosphere and visual look of the cities. Okay, before going to compliance issues with flame retardants, any questions about the structures, hybrid construction, whatever related to that? Okay, we still save them later. Thank you. So, okay, ensuring compliance. What it means with the flame retardants? What is the how it's ensured? It means that flame retardant product meets all the required standards, regulations, certification criteria, documentation requirements, the whole package, everything in it. And first is of course fire safety testing. So standards related to that. For example, EN 13501-1. That's the reaction to fire. So surface fire class, surface spread of flame, how do you want to say it? And that includes, of course, two substandards which dictate the outcome. So standard for SBR wall, single burning item test, which is the basic test for Euroclass results, and also small flame test, which is like a confirming test alongside with the SBI test. And this is actually the industry we are in with flame retardants, because flame retardants are the products which affect the surface fire class, the spread of fire, how easily the material ignites. And I try to add some of the things I was requested during the break, so they are not in the presentation, but in this case the fire safety testing and Euroclass, the EN 13501-1, the SPI test and small flame test. The result is Euroclass classification, and we have a main classification is by letters A, B, C, D, and so on. A is the class with the products which don't contribute to fire. Practically, they are not taking any part of the possible fire. B class is the highest class you can get for food. So BS1D0, that's the highest class. And I've heard a lot about, let's say, construction people saying that there is like the B class blindness now. So even if you could be settled with C class, it's easily BS1D0. But it's not so self-evident or so simple. So many things affect. It's not only the structure itself or part of the structure. It's the total combination of structures and all the like the fire load you have in the final end result, the building itself. And when it's needed, it's needed. Related to the other parameters in the classification, for example, the BS1D0. The B is the basic classification for fire class, so it tells the spread of flame and how easily the material ignites. S means the amount of smoke you are having when the burning is happening. And normally in exterior conditions, S2 is also okay, but related to the emergency exits and like that, of course, S1 is the preferred thing, because you need to see where you're going. And as you probably all know, when fire happens, when there's a fire case, it's not the fire which kills people, it's a smoke. People tend to pass out, lose consciousness even before they are exposed to fire itself. So the smoke is very critical factor. And then D0, that means that you don't have flaming droplets or parts of the facade or parts of the structure going around. So it's safe to evacuate from the building and let the rescue personnel do their thing, fire department, to put out the fire and like that. Then we have standards related to wood construction process, Eurocode 5, so EN 1995. And that's actually a set of standards and regulations and processes and very good tool in together with the fire safety testing, EN 13501-1 and -2 for architects. That like the pathway, technical pathway, how to go around the timber construction and fire safety. Not around how to implement it in real life. Then we have wood product standards, for example, EN 14915, which is the paneling and cladding standard. Environmental and chemical regulations, REACH, LEED, M1. REACH and LEED, David already handled in his presentation. M1 is a classification for indoor air quality only, but it's very strict. So, and for example, in Scandinavia, it's all in the Scandinavian countries. It's one of the most required thing related to the all public buildings must meet that, and all the buildings where people live in must meet that. And then related to the chemical regulations, there's also this SVHE list, which is under REACH regulation, and it's a substances of very high concern. And for example, Nordtreat has no chemicals which are on that list. So we are really a green technology product manufacturer. And then product documentation and labeling requirements. Of course, the important one, classification reports, starting with test reports, certifications, which you can apply using classification reports. But of course, also the instructions for using the product, maintenance instructions, and all the related. For example, information related to usage classes, TDS, SDS. All of these needs to be in place in order for you have the compliance of the flame retardant product for against all the requirements. About the standards, we have been talking a lot about those, and I know most people probably are not fan of those. I'm a little bit of standard geek myself, and I at least try to think, even when it is hard, that they are actually the cornerstone of conformity compliance, and they don't limit creativity. They safeguard it, and then they enable it. You can set the parameter through which you have planned something, because you can base it on standard, and that's a beautiful thing. You have something which is totally unanimous, and in this world in which lots of things are not certain and things are changing, it's a good thing we have those. And I jump a bit. In this case, Turkey aligns closely with European EN standards, with TSEN. They are harmonized with European EN standards, and that's of course we are the same region still, and same kind of economy and same kind of people, and looking for safety and things ways to do things right. So that's a good thing. About fire safety testing standards. So we already spoke about EN 13501. That's one, and that's the reaction to fire. So the surface fire class. EN 13501, that's two. That's resistance to fire. And that's like load-bearing capacities, for example. It's REI classification. And you have, of course, seen these, especially the old model, REI 60-500. So there is this structure which carries these load-bearing capacities, prevents the gases moving and the warmth moving through, on the other side of the certain structure. For 60 minutes in a fire, causing 500 degrees heat. But that's not about flame retardants. And at some point, of course, they noticed that these two, they are not talking in any way to each other. So even if you have like extra minutes with the flame retardant, you can't have that mentioned anywhere, because there is no standard for that, or the standards doesn't make it possible. But for example, with glulam and glulam standard EN 14080, there is no mention about the surface fire class. And when they noticed at some point that this is a little bit of a, let's say, they're lacking something, only the untreated wood it mentioned, DS2, D2, they decided that technical guidance for the building with these two standards, if the wood material has load-bearing capacities or don't have load-bearing capacities and is classified under EN 13501, that's two, its surface fire class can still be enhanced with the flame retardant treatment. Or it can be encapsulated. But of course that's stupid. If you have beautiful wood, why don't you show it? So then standards for wood construction, we already touched the EN 1995 Eurocode 5. And that's design of timber structures, and it's like set of standards. And then wood material standards, the first one, EN 14915, we already discussed, paneling and cladding. Then we have EN 14080, so glued laminated timber, EN 13986, wood-based panels, and EN 16351, CLT, cross-laminated timber. And in this part, I must say that all of these standards have one thing in common, except one. Does somebody want to tell me what that is? The difference between one of these 4 standards with the other standards? Okay, so all the other standards are harmonized, but the CLT standard, EN 16351, is not harmonized European standard. And that's due to the certain manufacturers, of course, they are not using their CLT. It's not according to EN 16351, so they don't want it to be implemented. And let's see when it happens. But it's not a problem as long as the CLT material you're using, the glasses and everything match to the EN 16351 classified and standardized like structure. And now, for example, our CLT solution is the testing has been done with the CLT, which is under that standard. So all testing, classification, and certification is based on these standards. And of course, not limited to this. There's standard for LVL. We have talked about LVL today also, and other standards which are relevant. But these are the most used ones in construction these days. And all of the Nordtreat solutions are based on certification or classification report. So directly you can say that all of the solutions we have are according to these standards we were talking about. And of course, wood material standards related to the wood material therefore. Okay, any questions about this? Let's go forward. One more standard and ensuring the compliance. There is also part of ensuring the functionality. And the new standard we are talking about now is a new standard in this presentation is EN 16755. And that's the durability of reaction to fire. It means that the flame retardant treated wood material is tested for 3 usage classes: interior 1, interior 2, and exterior. And it's a long series of tests, and certain tests take up to 6 months to complete. But the results are, of course, important. For interior, you have certain requirements, but those are mostly pretty easily matched. It's not a problem if you do a product, especially if you do a product only for interior use. You can use such chemicals and binders which you couldn't use for exterior products. But for exterior, it also is a way to dictate and estimate or to set the maintenance period, so-called service cycle, service period. And the maintenance and upkeeping guidance for all the products should be done through this, all the flame retardants. And in Nordtreat, all of the products we have the maintenance and upkeeping according to these results we have from 16755 tests. Only exception is that if you have a product only for interior 1 system, then it's of course no use testing it as per EN 16755 because it's only one usage class, and that's pretty easily confirmed, the interior 1 pretty easily with the Atlas cabinet and that kind of like small scale testing and in-house. And it doesn't need accredited lab, for example, for the testing. There were some questions about this, the maintenance cycle for Nordtreat's flame retardants. And as I said earlier, interior conditions, interior 1, interior 2, both. No maintenance cycle, because the fire protection is valid for the whole technical life cycle of the wood material. And unless, of course, there is water damage, mechanical damage, or you want to have the visual look to be different, then of course you need to do the maintenance treatment to achieve that. For exterior, product-specific maintenance cycle determined by the EN 16755 tests. So for every product, the exterior part of the test tells you what kind of life expectancy you have for the flame retardant treatment. And of course, like said, it varies a lot with regional conditions and exposed to elements, different elements. And they will affect actual maintenance cycle. Even so that in a building, the most exposed side, which is to the sun and sea, and what do you have? It might be that side needs to be maintained twice as often as the other sides of the building. And in certain seaside sites, it's more than probable. And that goes with, of course, with all the products, all the surfacing products, even with the basic lacquers and paints. With our products, with Nordtreat's products, the maintenance cycles are on average at least similar related to the regular wood stains. And I would say they are actually better. If you look at the maintenance cycles, big companies give for the wood stains, basic normal wood stains, we have better maintainability as per cycle aspect. About the maintaining the surfaces, there were a couple of questions during the break, and I answered them here right away. So one is, of course, to how to do the maintenance, and it happens with the same flame retardant you did the first application. You achieved the flame retardancy, the Euro class you were looking after. If you have BS1D0 facade, you do the maintenance and you achieve that with NTDCO. You do the maintenance with NTDCO, with Norflom W310, and that also confirms the fire class at the same time when you get the refreshed visual look. And of course, protect the wood material. So everything happens with the one product. And most of our products are one-pot solution. So you have one product, you don't have different primers or top coats or whatever. We have a couple of solutions, for example, pine glulam. We have a primer and top coat, and that's due to the resin in pine, which is very challenging. But still, when you do the maintenance on pine glulam in exterior conditions, you would use only the top coat you were using with the original application, the first application, to achieve the fire class. So compared to the normal like fire protection paints, the intumescent paints, where you only can maintain the surface, the visual part of the original treatment or application. In this case, you can service also the fire protection part, the flame retardancy. Any questions about that, about maintenance? Thank you.
You haven't mentioned anything about the cost of fire with the main.
Sorry, did you say anything about the cost? Okay. So I'm a technical guy, so I don't know the exact monetary values for as per unit how much our product costs. But in a way, if we think about in relation, if we think about the situation when you do the first treatment, let's say we have for simplicity, we have the on-site treatment for exterior surface of like glulam lock structure, glulam lock elements, and we have the exterior fire protection treatment for those. With NTDCO, so let's say it's spruce, and normally you would do 4 layers, 350 grams per square meter of the product on the surface, and it's pretty easy because you can do it with high pressure sprayer. You don't need to sand in between the layers or plaster or whatever. Only before the first treatment, light sanding. With pine structures, you would need machine sanding, but the actual application and product for the first treatment to achieve the fiberglass originally, I would imagine it's a bit more expensive than normal paint or lacquer, but not too much expensive. It's a sensible cost. And when you do the maintenance, you practically do the same thing as you would do with the normal painted surface. So you wash and sand the surface related to what the damage is and what kind of systems you have. If you have any mechanical damage, of course you need to address those, but you would also need to address those with the paints. And then you do the maintenance application for maintenance treatment, which is typically in normal situation, it's half of the original 350 grams, so 175 grams to 200 grams of the same product you did the original treatment. And that's practically 2 layers. And that's pretty much the same thing you would do with the normal painted or lacquered facade. Clean it, wash it, do 2 maintenance layers. So cost-wise, product might be a little bit more expensive. Probably Outi and David can address to that, but in a way that we are talking about sensible costs. Same kind of costs we are talking about pretty much with the normal surfacing agents related to the maintenance.
May I? I have a question regarding the previous chapter on design of timber sections according to Eurocode.
Yeah.
If you use retardants, does it affect the churn rate, or just we can simply extend the time of failure, like Swift the time of failure like 30 minutes or something, or should we reduce just simply the charring wood by minutes?
Yeah. So practically, this one is also the same thing as it is with reaction to fire and resistance to fire standards. So you would calculate the charring and for example, all the needed things. If it's beam, the air factor for the REI classification, the load bearing capacity, and if you enhance the surface fire properties, the spread of flame and other surface fire properties, it will have positive effect on the minutes, but you can't mark it anywhere. And that thus you cannot make it part of the calculation. So you would do the calculation as per EN 13501-2 as you normally would, and then you just enhance the surface fire properties. And of course, all people in the business understand there's a difference. It gets better, of course, still, because the charring happens slower. You might have a more dense charring due to the fact that fire is not spreading so fast, the ignition is delayed, and what do you have? But because there is no standard or way to measure that, we actually we were part of the testing series with Pekka, which is making these hybrid-like structures. There are steel structures which are filled with concrete, and in between those you use, for example, CLT, glulam. What do you have? And you could see from the curves that it affected if it was fire protected or not. But the difference is not too big. We are talking about few percents, because the mechanism, of course, for the exposed area in the test, there is an external external source for the flame, so it's mandatory that it gets heat and like that. But the more important thing is that there is no standard to mark it anywhere. Let's say it would be 10 or 20 or 25% better. It might be so, but and you can even prove it, but you can't have a documentation on it. So
it's just additional saving to bike.
Yeah. And those two things are actually the reason for that probably is they are not in a hurry to change it, because the reason for REI classification is the load bearing capacities, and of course if it's a wall element, the heat and the gases, burning gases. But the reason is that the load bearing capacities confirm that the building is not going to collapse, and the surface fire class ensures that people can go under those structures without getting, burning droplets and parts of the burning structure on their heads. So those are for two different purposes, and they work together for a different purpose. Let's say it like this. Okay, more questions, please. I have still I have 1 or 2 slides left. So, final thought. And I think it's an essential question related to compliance, functionality, and sustainability. And we also spoke about this too, but it's good to talk about things many times. So what happens to flame retardant treated wood when a building reaches the end of its technical life cycle? When let's say a modern building and it's in the point you need to dismantle it. You want to build something else where it used to be. With our solutions, the answer supports circularity and responsible design. Because wood treated with Nordtreat's flame retardants can be recycled, it can be used again, and we even touched the part that you can maintain it and you can even make it in a way that you can treat it with other surfacing agents, or you can dispose of it as a standard wood waste, because it's non-toxic. It can be even used as an energy waste, although it doesn't burn so good, but everything burns after all if you have enough energy from outside to make it happen. But I would say that this highlights and underlines the thing that sustainable choices do not end at the construction phase or the planning phase. They extend to the full life cycle of the materials and buildings. And I think this is one thing also which is critical, and to the public aspect, how the people see it. So, thank you for having us and having me. And I really look forward to interesting wood projects and renovating projects, new projects here in Turkey, Istanbul and other Turkey regions. And I hope that if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to talk with us today or send us email, call us. We are here to help you and to give solutions and answers to your questions. Thank you.
Pekka Hurri'ye, Nordtreat teknik danışmanına bu detaylı sunum için teşekkür ediyoruz. Ben bir şeylerin altını çizmek istiyorum. Çünkü gerçekten aslında sizlerin iyiliğine ve Türk yapı sektörünün, ahşap yapı sektörünün daha hızlı ilerlemesi amacıyla yapılmış bir seminerdeyiz. Pekka bahsetti. Biliyorsunuz lamine ahşap ve çapraz lamine ahşabın üretim standartları var. EN 14080 ve EN 16351. Bizler yapıları tasarlarken özellikle burada çok geniş açıklıklı ve 2 ve üzeri katlı CLT yapılar için çalışan mimarlık ofisleri olduğunu biliyorum. Görece güzel işlerin sayıca da artacağını umut ediyorum. Biliyorsunuz TSN normları olarak bunların altı çizildi ve 13501 Türkiye'de Çevre Şehircilik Bakanlığı tarafından hazırlanan binaların yangından korunması hakkındaki yönetmelikte de geçiyor ve kabul ediliyor. Yani yangından kaçmak sadece merdivenleri doğru tasarlamakla olacak bir şey değil. Yani lütfen burada hala bu işin farkına varamayan dostlar varsa biz zaten ülke olarak bu normları kabul etmiş vaziyetteyiz. Yani biz bir şartname yazarken, bir ahşap yapı yaparken nasıl gelen lamine ahşabın en 14080 olsun diyorsak o zaman yangın güvenliği için de o TSN normlarını oraya koymalıyız. Çünkü sabah bahsettim bir ahşap yapı yönetmeliği yürürlükte 1 Ocak 2025'ten beri. Bu ahşap yapı yönetmeliğinin 6. bölümünü açar bakarsanız yangın ve ahşap konusu işleniyor. Ama bu yönetmelikler bilirsiniz ki birer hazırlıktır, ön basamaktır. Biz tasarımcılardan, hesaplayıcılardan daha detaylı bir şeyleri bizlerin önüne getirmesini isteriz. Yani kontrol teşkilatının önüne getirmesini isteriz ya da işte devlet idarelerinde bu işi kontrol altına imza atacak kişilerin önüne daha detaylı bilgiler geçmesini isteriz. Dolayısıyla bugünkü etkinlik, özellikle de Pekka'nın detaylı teknik sunumu aslında bize refere edeceğimiz standartları da verdi ahşap yapılar için ve bunların da Türkiye'de güncel olarak arandığını söylemek isterim. Yani ahşapla bina inşa etmek istediğinizde ya da herhangi bir binayı yangına karşı koruyarak inşa etmek istediğinizde zaten aranan şeyler bunlar. Bu sebeple bunu söylemek isterim. Şimdi bir aramız var. Biraz çay kahve içelim ve zihinlerimizi biraz daha gençleştirelim. Sonra devam edeceğiz.